this, what they're trying to do is really a Trojan horse to be able to enhance and expand, add housing, to add units that we really don't want.
And it was a very similar kind of overreach and proposal by central government. Hi, I'm Paul Graziano. I'm an urban planning and land use consultant. I'm from Queens, so I'm the guy, not from here, but I'm from Northeast Queens, which, if you guys know, is about as close to Staten Island as any other part of the city is, which is true in terms of our development patterns and single-family homes, et cetera. We are we're Staten Island strong in Queens. So, I just want to say, first of all, thanks for everybody coming out, the electeds, the civics. I've been in touch with a lot of you guys over the last couple of weeks, as you know. This is a massive issue. For those of you who don't know, I actually helped to rezone half of Queens, protect single-family neighborhoods. This is what I do. I actually was involved in trying to save Mount Manresa with you guys, and also rezone Rosebank and other areas here. So this is what I do, and to see this kind of legislation come up, many of you remember from last year, former Speaker Corey Johnson put out a proposal called Planning Together, which was going to tear this city apart. And it was a very similar kind of overreach and proposal by central government trying to impose a one-size-fits-all on the entire city. It was outrageous. They were talking about eliminating single-family zoning. They were talking about upzoning every community board every 10 years. It was madness, okay? So when we beat that last year, and we got practically every community board in the city against it, and we just destroyed it, I was like, wow, this is great. And then this comes up, right? And I look at this and I say, and again, the governor stated at her State of the State, I want to remind everybody here what she said at her televised State of the State address. The televised State of the State address, she said, we will fix outdated land use laws that are holding back housing supply. Now, as an urban planner, these are vague and ominous words that I take very seriously. So when I looked in that report and I saw her intention was to literally focus on single-family zoning in the entire state of New York, that every single-family zone would be required, every lot in every single-family zone would be, the municipalities would be required to allow at least one ADU and maybe 2, 3, or 4. This is very disturbing to me. The TODs, which was another piece of that, which doesn't really affect the city, but our colleagues in Nassau, Suffolk, Westchester, same overreach. Every area within a half a mile, you're going to have at least 25 units per acre. Just to let you know, you're in an R2 zone, you're like 10, 11 units per acre. Okay, so 25 units per acre would be a massive upzoning if you were in Westchester and you were near a train station. So what I'm trying to get at here is, in 100 years, the governor and the legislature have never tried to interfere with local zoning like this, ever. Even Robert Moses, the big boogeyman of our lifetime, right? I mean, I'm only 50, so I was just a kid when he passed away, but even he didn't do stuff like this. That's what's crazy about it. So for the governor to put this in there, to sneak it in there, into the budget, because that's really what it was. Nobody knew about it. I know some of the electeds did, but we certainly didn't. And what I ended up doing was reaching out to you guys, reaching out to Queens, reactivating my people from last year, from the Planning Together, and then reaching out to Rochester, Schenectady, Ithaca, Mount Vernon. The mayor of Mount Vernon, she was apoplectic about this. Yonkers, etc. The concern I have, and I don't mean to correct anybody, I want to read you what was actually done, okay? This is important. This is the edit to the bill, okay, and I'm going to read it. I actually have the legislation. This was called Part AA for the ADUs and Part EE for the TODs, the transit-oriented development. Part AA, so this is the 30-day amendment, which allows the governor, which I only found out about this yesterday, so I'm not an expert. I might sound like one because I just had it in my head last night. It allows the governor to amend anything she put in the budget up to 30 days of that budget being submitted. The budget was submitted January 18th. Yesterday was the 30-day mark, okay? So it's very easy for her to pull it out. So what she pulled out, it says, Part AA relating to the permit to create accessory dwelling units is amended to bullet point removes the statewide requirement to provide for the creation of accessory dwelling units, focusing instead on an authorization for New York City to establish a program to legalize pre-existing ADUs, including providing for amnesty. So she did not kill the ADU bill. She killed 2/3 of the ADU bill. The first part was eliminating single-family zoning. The second part was taking away home rule by doing this. But the third part is still very much alive and in the budget. And this is an existential threat to our communities, just as much as the other things were. We all know that we have a problem with illegal conversions in the city of New York. But let me frame it a slightly different way. And I don't want to take up too much of your time, but it's really important that people understand this, including our elected officials. I'm a civic guy. I've started half a dozen homeowners and civic associations in Queens. We have been fighting against illegal conversions for decades. Sometimes, occasionally successfully, when the buildings department is doing their job and they've been granted access and they're not necessarily on the take. So we're in a situation where we're fighting against these things. The people who are doing this legally, who buy a single family home in a 2-family zone and legally convert this, pay tens of thousands of dollars, buy the permits, spend the money, pay taxes on the income that they're generating, pay additional property taxes for the C of O that they've had to change from a 1-family to. They are being punished. They're chumps if this bill goes through, because this bill will grant amnesty to all of these folks who have been creating dangerous conditions that kill people, that are creating problems in our communities that we don't have the infrastructure to deal with it, have been taking money that they're not paying income taxes on, and that they don't have to change their C of O, so they're not paying the right property taxes. And we don't want them in our community because we need development to be correct. No one is saying we don't need affordable housing. No one is saying that we don't need development, but it has to be in the right place, and it shouldn't be at the expense of the people who have bought into our communities. So this is, again, my long-winded way of saying, I am urging these state representatives who are here and all of the local elected officials that this comes out now. This is not something, I met with the Queens delegation yesterday, the mostly Democratic delegation, and they are pissed off that this got left in. And I don't understand what the political calculus of all of this is from the governor, but this is not a calculus that if I were running for a re-election, or election in this case, I would be putting this into the bill. So I got one more thing to say, folks, real quick, very, very quickly. There's a bill that's almost identical to what the governor put out. It's called S4547A. This is Harckham Epstein. Okay. So it's S4547A and S4854A. A4854A. This is known as the Harckham Epstein bill. This bill is almost identical to the bill that the governor submitted. This bill was moving through the state Senate last Tuesday. They actually had a hearing on it. It was supposed to be moved out of committee. It was in the Judiciary Committee, and the word got out from various other electeds to Pete Harckham to put pressure on him, and it actually got pulled from that committee meeting. But it's not dead, and even if it doesn't go through this session, I don't know if you folks know, but they have to reintroduce bills every 2 years because it's a new session, it's gonna resurface. So what I'm saying is, even if we've won this victory, and we're not done with it yet because we still have to deal with the illegal amnesty issue, illegal conversion amnesty, it's going to keep coming back. And so this bill is not dead. You need to be, again, talking to your electeds about this to make sure it does not surface before the end of June. And when this comes up again next year, you need to make sure that your people aren't. So I just wanted to say that because it's 95% the same as the other bill, which, by the way, 1,500 square foot ADU, 1,500 in your backyard, 4-foot rear yard, 4-foot side yard, 7-foot ceilings. That's what they want to do to our communities. Thank you.
What they're trying to do is really a Trojan horse to be able to enhance and expand, add housing, to add units that we really don't want.
And it was a very similar kind of overreach and proposal by central government trying to impose a one-size-fits-all on the entire city. It was outrageous. They were talking about eliminating single-family zoning. They were talking about upzoning every community board, every